Hey guys, well, the time has arrived. I'm on my way to work. I am on my way back to work. This will be my first night after 4 months of not being there, and it feels kind of weird. Sorry, it's so dark. Feels kind of weird going back to work after all this time. That make a difference? Anyway, I will catch you guys again once I arrive in the parking lot, so I don't have to drive with these lights on. All right, guys, I'll catch you in a minute. Bye. All right, guys, we are back, and unfortunately this is the best I can do as far as lighting. It's dark outside. We've got rain, more rain, so of course, and plus it's after 8 p.m. so yeah, so unfortunately we are back at work tonight, and this is gonna be real interesting. I just don't know. Just don't know, but we shall see how the night goes, how this week goes, actually. Now, remember when I was telling you guys that I didn't know what to do because Dr. Nadu had released me back to work, but the therapy place was saying, or the nurse practitioner or doctor, when I talked to her, she said she could release me back to work, but she, in her professional opinion, felt like I wasn't ready to go back to work, and that she hadn't seen any significant progress. Well, after I got the release from Dr. Nadu, and I went back to the nurse practitioner or doctor with Bodyworks. I had already talked to the HR lady at my job when Dr. Nadu released me that day. And so I told her that she released me, and she was a little surprised. And so she told me to wait and see what the therapist has to say, because whatever their decision on it was, it would override Dr. Nadu. So if Dr. Nadu says I can go back to work, but they feel like I'm not ready to go back to work, then their word would override hers. So she wanted me to wait until the following week for my first appointment with them to find out what the doctor had to say. And so this time when I went in, it was almost like she did a 180. Because all of a sudden she was like, okay, well, let's send you back to work. She said they want to monitor my progress. But they were going to send me back to work. Then she said that I have made some progress. She said, you have made some progress. And I'm like, okay, the last time you said you haven't seen any significant progress. But I guess she's just saying that she's seen some progress. It's just not significant enough. Well, apparently it's significant enough that she decided that they were going to send me back to work. But they wanted to monitor my progress and see how I do. If I start to struggle when I'm at work or whatever, then I don't know what they're going to do, because she's the one that said they can't take me off of work. They can send me back to work, but they can't take me out of work. So I'm like, so I don't know. Maybe her plan is if I'm struggling at work, maybe they're gonna slow down on the amount of stuff that they give me to do in therapy. I don't know. I don't know what her game plan is, but she said they want to monitor me. They want to send me back to work, but they were going to monitor my progress. She said I have a lot of sessions left. So, yeah, we shall see how that goes. But like I said, tonight is going to be interesting. I'm going back in here. It almost feels like this is my first day of work. Like I'm just starting at this company. Oh my goodness. But it is what it is. And we shall get through it regardless. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to let you know that I'm back on the job. And that we shall see how this goes. We shall see how this goes. All right, guys, you have a good night. I've got quite a bit of time before it's time for me to go in. I left a little extra early, one because of the weather, and two because I had to go over to the storage unit. So anyway, I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great night. Be safe, be well, stay blessed. And I will see you guys again soon. Probably check you out in the morning and let you know how I'm feeling. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey, guys. False alarm, apparently. So I went to work. I actually still have my name tag on. Went to work, and one of the HR ladies was there, which I thought was kind of odd. Normally when I would come in at night, I would sit at there's a desk immediately to the left as you walk in. There's a desk in front, and that's where security sits. But there's also a desk to the left, and that's where the HR lady, well, one of the HR ladies sits. Just waiting for that door to close so that noise could stop. That's where one of the HR ladies sits. The lady that I would have to go and pay my group insurance to. I'd have to write a check to her so that she could pay the insurance company so that they can keep my insurance up to date. And so when I saw her, I walked in, I went over to grab a scanner and grab a walkie-talkie. And then I went over to her desk and I put my scanner there and my gallon of water, because I drink a lot of water, so I take water to work with me. So I put that on her desk, and as I was turning around to go upstairs to my locker, she came in the front door and she was like, hey, she's like, she said, did you get your stuff? And I was like, what stuff? And she was like, the stuff that was in your locker. And I was like, looking at her strange, because I'm like, why would I need to get the things that were in my locker? They should be in my locker. And so I'm like, what the crap? And so she was like, oh, we did locker clean out. Which is fine. Really, this company, I guess they have had some problems in the past with people slipping in contraband, or I don't know, they're paranoid about firearms, or I don't know what the issue is, but every now and then they would do these locker checks. So they would catch you as you were walking in the door, and they would walk you up to your locker and have you open your locker, and a supervisor or somebody from HR or whatever, security, would be there as you're opening your locker so they can check the contents. Plus, people have a tendency to hide scanners and hide the walkie-talkies in their lockers. And so you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to use them. And then at the end of your shift, you're supposed to put them back on the charger inside the cabinets by the offices. But a lot of people, they hide those scanners and they hide the walkies in their lockers. And so they do locker checks from time to time. So I didn't think anything of it. And so she was like, yeah, we cleaned out lockers. We cleaned out everybody's locker. And so I'm like, okay. That's a little bit different from a locker check, because they removed all the contents from everybody's lockers and then they put them on display in like these boxes. So you got a bunch of clipboards in one box, you got a bunch of pens and markers and calculators and all that kind of stuff in other boxes, and you got safety shoes in another box, and this is all mixed together, people's stuff from their lockers. And I'm like, what the crap? And so when she first came out, when she first asked me that, I was like, no. I'm like, no, nobody gave me my stuff. And so she's like, hang on a minute. She went in one of the other offices, one of the cubicles, and she came out with this plastic bag full of stuff. And so I'm looking at this plastic bag, and the only thing that I recognized in there belonging to me, my name was on the bag or inside the bag on a piece of paper. But the only thing in this bag belonging to me was a notebook, a binder, because I had just recently presented an idea to the supervisors for a program to implement with this company to kind of help out with housekeeping. And so I recognized the folder, but every other item in that bag did not belong to me. And I'm like, whose stuff is this? And why is my name on it? And so she's like, this isn't yours. And I'm like, no. And this isn't mine. And that's not mine. And that's not mine. I'm like, nothing in this bag is mine except for that binder. And she was like, oh, and she's looking, kind of clueless. And so she took me upstairs where the lockers are, and they had all of these big boxes with all of this stuff on it that they had pulled out of people's lockers. And so we're having to go through these boxes to try to find my stuff. And I'm like, what kind of madness? What a thing to have to come back to, that all your stuff is just gone and nobody knows where it is. And so we're going through this stuff, and we can't find my harness. We can't find my vest. I had a bunch of pens and markers and lotions and hair clips and personal female products. And I mean, I had all kinds of stuff in my locker, that I need to perform my job, to be there every day. And I had, like I said, some personal things in there that cannot be replaced. I had a stainless steel clipboard box that was given to me as a present, as a reward from, I think it was Caterpillar, if I'm not mistaken, but it was one of the jobs that I worked. It was something that was given to me for performance. I've had that box for 25 years, at least 25 years, and nobody knows where it's at. They had a bunch of wooden corkboard clipboards, but not my board, not my box. None of that was there. My harness, like I said, wasn't there. We went through all of the harnesses. It wasn't there. So to start the night off, I was a little perturbed, to be honest. I was a little ticked, to be real honest. Not just a little. I was kind of very ticked about that, because I'm like, how do you just invade somebody's personal space? And I get that, you guys have the right to do locker searches and all of that. But if you're going to search somebody's locker, put their stuff back. And if you're going to take all of their stuff out, have somebody adequately bag it up appropriately with all of the contents of their locker, with their name, identifying markers or whatever. How do you just take stuff out, dump it all in separate boxes, and then And do you not know, again, we live in the kind of world where people aren't honest and people steal. People take things. So you got everybody's stuff out on display. And then you don't know who's going to walk by and just see something that they like or something that they want and just take it and keep going. So yeah, all my stuff is gone. All my stuff is missing except for that one binder. That's it. That's all. Everything is gone. And they have no clue where it's at. And so the lady says, well, just make a list of the things that, because we can get you more markers, we can get you more pens, we could get you another vest. And yeah, but the things that matter are gone. And then on top of that, I'm going to have to buy another lock for my locker because they cut all the locks off. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll reimburse you. I'm like, but you can't reimburse me for the things that you can't replace. I'm like, I just find this awfully disturbing how you guys went about this. Now, if you had done it in an efficient manner to where everybody's belongings were kept securely in one spot, like I said, these clear plastic bags that they had, like what she first originally brought me was a big clear plastic bag with all of these contents. It's just unfortunate that the only content in that bag belonging to me was the binder. Everything else, I don't know where they got this stuff from because it wasn't mine. So that upset me first and foremost. So I started off the night in a not so happy mood. You know, people are like, oh, Sherry, hi, we're so happy you're back, and oh, it's so good. And I'm trying to be, you know, hi, but in the inside, I'm hot because you all have lost all my stuff. And now I can't even perform my job properly because I don't have the materials that I need. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I had labels and stuff that I need for scanning in my little box. And I did have one of those corkboard clipboards also. I used them both for different jobs. And on the back of mine, I had all the specific labels that I need for scanning trucks. When the trucks came in on the dock, I was able to scan the truck number to do transfers and all of that. Anyway, yeah, so I was a little hot, to say the least, about that. And so they were inquiring about trying to get me another vest. Now, usually, early in my start at this place, the supervisors had extra brand new harnesses and vests in their offices. And so I guess they moved them out of their offices and moved them somewhere else. And so when the lady contacted the second shift supervisor to come over and help, and she couldn't help either, the both of them went to the big boss, who was another person I was surprised was there at this hour of the night. I'm like, somebody must have told them I was coming back tonight. Because I'm like, why on earth would these two people be there? Now, the big boss, he's kind of known for, I don't want to say not having a life. Our job is his life. He spends an awful amount of time at that place when he should be with his family or just enjoying his life, but he's like always there. So it's not that unusual for him to be there. But the HR lady at this hour, she should have been gone a long time ago. And so I'm like, okay, maybe they were back. Maybe they were there for me. I don't know. I just kind of got that impression after everything happened. So these two ladies went to him, and that's how I knew that he was there. And they were asking him if he knew where they had moved the new harnesses to. And so we kind of went on a little treasure hunt through the plant looking for these harnesses. And so we couldn't find the harnesses, and they gave me somebody else's harness to substitute until I guess they can give me a new one. One of the supervisors who barely ever uses his harness, I think she said he might have used it all of 3 times. But yeah, so they gave me his harness for right now. And so I went and sat down at the desk, and I started making out my list of things that were missing. And as people were coming in and we were getting ready to start the nightly meeting, the startup meeting, I was talking to another employee, and he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He was like, "How you feeling?" He thought I had had surgery. That's why I was out for so long. I'm like, "Yeah, I would never have surgery." He's like, "Yeah, I thought I remember you saying that." But as I was talking to him, the HR lady came to me because one of our night supervisors and the big boss had gone into the conference room, and they were having a little powwow. And so after a while, she came out and she was like, "Can you come with me?" And I was like, "Okay." So I got up and I went in the conference room, and the supervisor left, but the HR lady stayed and the big boss stayed. And so they wanted to talk to me about my restrictions, because she did ask me for that. She went and made copies of it, and then she handed me the originals back. And so I guess they were discussing me in this little powwow, and my restrictions. And so they want me to have an assessment done, some kind of test, I guess, testing to find out what I'm capable of doing, basically. And so they were sending me back home. They were like, we're going to call you sometime tomorrow and schedule you to go and have this test done, because, going over your restrictions, we're not sure if we can accommodate them. And so, and then they were like, and then looking at the paperwork, she was like, it doesn't give a time frame, how long is this for? And she was like, the way it's worded, it's like it's indefinitely. And so I said to them, well, yeah, it's supposed to be. I said it's supposed to be. And then I had to explain the whole story to them from the very beginning, and how my primary care doctor had me on permanent restrictions since 2018. And that this was all supposed to be known prior to me starting with this company. I said, when I talked to the recruiter and when I interviewed with the 2 ladies in HR over at the other building, they all knew this. I said, and they told me that my job would not consist of any heavy lifting, and that I wouldn't have to do any repetitious, duties like picking. And so I said, and then when I got here, it was completely the opposite. And the big boss was shaking his head like, yeah, yeah. And so I said, I think it was either the first or second day that I was training with this particular employee. We're not going to name his name. And he was training me up front on the cherry picker, and we were picking boxes. And I was like, some of those boxes were rather heavy. And he was like, and then the big boss is shaking his head again, like, yeah, yeah. And so I said, I looked at the guy that was training me, and I said, this is exactly what they told me I didn't have to do. I said, so at my first break, I went straight to my supervisor, and I told him, hey, we have a problem here. And he was like, what's the problem? And I told him I was told that I wouldn't have to do these particular functions on the job. I was told I didn't have to do any heavy lifting, and I didn't have to do any picking, any repetitious movements. And so he was like, oh, okay, no problem. I'll keep you on the turret. I'll keep you on the dock in shipping. And so I was like, okay, I'm fine with that. I can handle shipping. I can handle, using the trucks to move materials. But all of this activity that you guys have going on in the front of the building, I can't do any of that. I'm just not physically able to do that every day, repetitively. Can't do it. And so I say, yeah, I guess after I talked to my supervisor, he talked to the then lady who was in charge at our facility in HR. And so she wanted me to have this assessment that they're wanting to send me to now. No, actually, she wanted me to go back to my primary care doctor and have him re-evaluate me, retest me, or re-examine me, or whatever, to see if anything had changed. And so she sent him like a questionnaire with a number of questions on it. She sent him a description of my job and what I'm supposed to do. And so when he filled out that information and sent it back to her, she was like, oh, okay. So I guess she realized the seriousness of my condition. And so she said, we may have to pull you out of this job. Not that they were going to fire me, but that they were going to find me another job within the company. And so I asked her, I said, well, why can't I just continue to do what I'm doing in the back? I said, I can continue to load and unload trucks and, drive the trucks to move materials and label and, all that kind of stuff. Whatever, all that we do in the back, I'm okay with doing. It's just the front portion of activities that I can't do. And so she was like, well, we'll have to look into it. And, I'm going to talk to my colleagues or whatever. And so things were just kind of left in limbo. And I was still working from the back for quite some time. And then she left the company. She left the company and another person came in as a substitute. And it was just right before I went on vacation that this HR lady, who is the same HR lady that was working with me through this whole short-term disability fiasco, she was requiring that I have this test done and that we get some updated information on my condition from my doctor. And so I was like, fine, when I come back from vacation, we can schedule that. No big deal. And then, the whole sciatic thing happened and we're back to square one. So I explained all of this to the HR lady that was sitting there tonight and the big boss. And so he said to me that, my health is the most important thing. He thanked me for sharing that information. He was like, because most of that is completely new to him. He had never heard that before. Nobody had ever informed him of that and, blah, blah, blah. And so I say, yeah, even when Melissa got the information from our supervisor, and she got the information from my doctor, and I told her that through the recruitment process, because this company recruited me, I didn't find them. They recruited me, and when they first called me, I said no. I turned it down. But then I thought about it, and I had 5 options at that time, 5 places that I interviewed with within a 2-day span. I think I interviewed at 3 places one day and 2 the other day. And so all of them were interested in me because of my background, because of my history, and because of my experience. I've done a lot. And so they were all interested, and I had the option between the 5 positions. And so originally I said no to this place where I work at. But then I thought about it. I started weighing it against the other options that I had. And the thing that I liked about the company, number one, it's a Christian company. It's owned by a Christian family. They have Christian values and all of that. Number two, the pay wasn't quite as much as some of the other positions. But what I liked about it was it had a lot of incentives. So the incentives and the bonuses kind of made up for the lack of pay. Let's put it that way. And I've told you about some of the bonuses, the stuff that they give us. They give us free products all the time. I have so much stuff, it's ridiculous. I mean, and back in the day, they used to give like appliances, like the, what is that? The mixers, it's not Kenwood. What is it called? I can't think of it. But they're top brand mixers for your kitchen, for making food. And they've given away, I mean, so much stuff, so much nice stuff. Like I said, when I went to the orientation, this was just my first day on the job. Well, not really working, but just the orientation. They have this wheel that you spin, like the Wheel of Fortune. And on that wheel, they've got all kinds of prizes that you can win, including money, vacation time, like I say, products or gift certificates to some of their stores. Like I said, one of the guys in my group, when he spun the wheel, he won a Yeti cooler. I won $300. Another person won, I think, a day off work, 8 hours of PTO time. Yes, I mean, so, and then for your birthday, when your birthday comes up on the calendar, you get to spin that wheel again and win a prize, cash or day off or whatever. I mean, it's just a lot of good, positive things about this company, a lot of pluses. So when I weighed it against the other options, I say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with this company. This thing has been on all this time. And so, yeah, they were the ones that reached out to me. They were the ones that recruited me. And like I said, when I spoke with the recruiter, I think his name was TJ or something LJ or something. He told me, he kind of described the job to me. He didn't say anything about picking. He didn't say anything about lifting any. Matter of fact, he said there would be no, because I asked these questions because I know what my limitations are. And I'm the kind of person that wants to know things. So I'm going to ask questions. So I asked him, I'm like, is there any heavy lifting involved? And he was like, no. And I was like, do I have to do like repetitious work? And he was like, no. And so, like I said, when I got into the interview with these two ladies, they were very excited because I was a woman and I knew how to drive the turret, which I guess is not common from where they come from. And so they were like, wow, you're going to do great. You're going to do great. And so I asked these two ladies in the interview about the heavy lifting and the picking. And one of the ladies said to me that our boxes are pretty light. They're manageable. She was like, because we've got health food products, supplements and vitamins and things. So the boxes aren't that heavy. And that might be true for a lot of the boxes, but not all of them. Some of those boxes are heavy. You got diffusers, you got glass bottles and stuff in some of these boxes, or you have like liquids and stuff. Yeah, that stuff gets pretty heavy. And it's not that I can't handle it. It's that I have a back condition and I'm not supposed to be lifting this kind of stuff because these kind of things are what makes my back worse. Over time, it's going to trigger it. It's going to cause me to have spasms. It's going to cause me to have flare-ups. So I shouldn't be lifting these type of items. It's not that I can't. It's not that I don't have the strength to do it. I have the strength and then some. I'm not supposed to. That's the thing. And so, yeah. So when I explained all of this to these two people, the big boss and the HR lady, they were like, okay, we're gonna have to have a discussion about this and see what we can do. But in the meantime, they want me to schedule this testing, I guess, to assess, to see what I can do, what I'm able to do, how much I'm able to lift, how much I'm able to bend and stand, and I guess something like that. Yeah, so they sent me home and they said they're going to call me in the morning so we can get that scheduled and I could go ahead and get that done, and I can't return back to work until that's done. So, yeah, so I came over here to the storage unit because now I have time to do my walk. I thought I would not be able to walk nights anymore now that I'm working, except for on the weekends. So I did my walk at 6 o'clock this morning. And so on my way here, I was like, oh, well, now I can walk. So I drove right over here to the storage unit. So yeah, guys, that's my story. We had a false alarm on tonight. I thought I was going back to work, but not yet. So we shall see, guys. Maybe I might have enough time to get in a camping trip. Hopefully they schedule this thing for like next week, and then I could go camping like tomorrow. No, I can't because I got therapy. Oh crap. Oh my goodness, I can't do it. We'll see. We'll see what we can work out. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here so I can go get my walk in. But I will talk to you guys later on. Have a great one. I will see you later. Bye.